In diesem Video sehen wir uns englische Satzanfänge an, mit denen du bessere englische Texte schreiben kannst. Wie im Deutschen solltest du auch bei englischen Texten auf gute, abwechslungsreiche Satzanfänge achten, damit dein Text interessanter wird. Sehen wir uns englische Sätze für Einleitungen an. Is one of the biggest challenges of our time. Ist die größte Herausforderung unserer Zeit. In recent years, in den letzten Jahren, one of the most significant issues is, eines der wichtigsten Probleme ist, many people believe that, viele Menschen glauben, dass, the purpose of this essay is to, der Zweck dieses Aufsatzes ist es, first and foremost, zuallererst, the question of whether, die Frage ob, in the following discussion, in der folgenden Diskussion, this paper aims to, dieses Dokument zielt darauf ab, zu, the topic of has been widely discussed, das Thema wurde viel diskutiert. This article will explore, dieser Artikel wird untersuchen. Nun sehen wir uns englische Satzanfänge an, mit denen du Gegensätze ausdrücken kannst. However, but, on the one hand, on the other hand, in contrast to, nevertheless, regardless, despite this, whereas, nonetheless, on the contrary, even though, although, otherwise, even though, while it is true that, yet, instead of, unlike, in spite of, though, alternatively. Mit diesen englischen Satzanfängen kannst du Aussagen begründen. Because of, since, as, due to, owing to, hence, in order to, therefore, thus, as a result, consequently. That is why, considering that, given that, in light of. First, second, third, firstly, secondly, thirdly, first of all, initially, to begin with, before, after, afterwards, then, next, subsequently, in the meantime, finally, lastly. When, later, until, since, prior to, recently, lately, while, during, at present, nowadays, in the past, in the future, at the beginning, in the end. Furthermore, additionally, moreover, and also, besides, in addition to, similarly, as well as, not only but also, along with, just as important, on top of that, equally important. Another point is to add to this. In my opinion, I believe that, I think that, it seems to me that, from my perspective, I share this point of view. I would argue that, as I see it, personally I feel that, my view is that, I'm convinced that, I agree with, I fully support, indeed. That's exactly what I think. I share the same view. It is right that. To be honest, I disagree with. I don't think that. However, I see it differently. I beg to differ. That is not necessarily true. While I understand this point, I have a different perspective. Referring to, with regard to, concerning, as mentioned earlier. Regarding, in connection with, based on, as highlighted in terms of, to elaborate on, for example, for instance, such as, to illustrate. Ein example of this is, to give an example. So kannst du deine Texte zusammenfassen. Therefore, consequently, hence, as a result, thus, it can be concluded that, this implies that, given these points, it follows that, in summary, to sum up, in conclusion, overall, to conclude, in brief, to summarize, in short. Schau auch auf meinen Blogs vorbei, Links sind in der Beschreibung. Dort findest du noch mehr Tipps, Beispiele und Downloadmaterial.